Near the massive and lush forest that marks the border of the Sariska Tiger Reserve, there is an abandoned town named Bhangarh. Over 600 years old, little remains of the town beyond empty buildings and large fortified walls that give the town an imposing sense of isolation. People wandering the place have felt an unearthly presence and the feeling of unexplained dread. It is impossible to visit the haunted city at night. People aren't allowed to stay past sunset, and domesticated animals are not allowed to forage nearby. It's one of the only places in the earth that a government restricts access to due to threats of supernatural menace. Many generations ago, an evil sorcerer fell in love with the princess of Bhangarh. He planned to win her love through black magic, but she discovered his plot and turned his magics against him. The sorcerer was mortally wounded, but as he lay dying, he cursed the princess and the entire town to destruction. This began an endless series of wars and destruction that eventually claimed the entire town. According to legend, no new home could be built on Bhangarh. The ceilings have collapsed on any who've tried. Worse, the spirits of people who die in Bhangarh will not reincarnate. Trapped forever outside the cycle of death and rebirth, these doomed spirits inflict their wrath on any living soul they can catch. It is said that many people who stay overnight in this haunted town are never heard from again. The most horrifying monster in all of Indian mythology is the Rakshasa. Originally created by the breath of Brahma himself, they were so consumed with bloodlust that they immediately set upon him with fang and claw, eager to devour their own father. Banished to the deepest, darkest parts of the earth, the Rakshasa came to torment humanity. The creatures are described as being massive, with huge fangs and burning eyes. They are flesh eaters and blood drinkers, and many of the most famous images of the Rakshasa are of them drinking the blood of their victims from a human skull. Anyone could be a Rakshasa. They are illusionists and shapeshifters, and the smartest and most sinister ones loved tricking their victims, while the more primal ones would waylay travelers on dark roads and forest pathways. Either way, the results were always the same. Their terrified victims would be ripped apart, and the ancient Rakshasa would disappear into the night, their endless hunger never satisfied. One of the most common themes in ghost stories is the story of the traveler and the ghost. Traveling makes us all vulnerable, and there's nothing lonelier than traveling alone on a long stretch of road in the middle of the night. According to the legend, there's a woman dressed all in white who sometimes appears on the side of the road in the Delhi Cantt. In some versions of the story, she's a beautiful and sophisticated lady, while in other eyewitness accounts, she's a horrifying witch woman who scares anyone who sees her. Either way, she's said to be the ghost of a woman killed in an auto accident. One of our own employees has met the ghost of the Delhi Cantt. They had been driving along the road one night when they encountered a woman dressed all in white. She was floating above the ground, and her stiff arms ended in long, bloody claws. They drove away, but the ghost followed them. They were able to get away, and the ghost howled with rage as their car escaped into the night.